Alright, it's a little song called Coming Down From You. Ready?
Alright folks, welcome back to IBWIP. We're here at the High Note in Pekin, Illinois with our good friend Joe Hubert. Joe, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Good to be here, Blake.
We just saw you a couple days ago at Moonrunners. You're coming down here and it's a perfect opportunity because you have a brand new album out, The Hanging Road. Can you tell us a little bit about the album?
It officially came out online yesterday, so yeah, it's brand spanking new. Most of these songs are stuff I've come up with in the last year and a half here. It's, I would say it's definitely in the vein of how Tongues of Fire kind of shifted from Bury Me Where I Fall, where it was pretty low-key morose stuff, and then I brought it up a notch, more balanced, more balanced living that I was doing at the time of writing. So, these are, I try to keep it, kind of each individual song pops out on its own, and each one kind of, whatever happens, it exists in a world of its own, and it doesn't have to match any other sound. Whatever comes. And,
right.
I've said this before. Yeah, like now that I'm just under my own name of Joseph Huber, whatever comes is going to be me.
Right.
I'm not worried about trying to write a song that's fits into a genre or tone or attitude or anything. It's just like, I'm a human being with as many emotions and attitudes and ranges of thought or that anyone else is. So it's like whatever comes.
Awesome. Yeah. I just dropped the question, so hold on.
Hey, go for it.
I didn't have a personal assistant or anything. So the album is coming out on Moonrunners Recordings. What was your decision? How did your decision come about to join forces with Moonrunners Recording?
Well, certainly it was a good first experience going to the Muddy Roots festival. I didn't make the first one, but the second one. And
it was kind of wet.
It was certainly wet. And regardless of only getting to play 6 songs, I kind of I felt a certain community or sense that was created there, and it just felt really damn good. And after meeting Jason, I just kind of could tell that it was a passionate thing that he was doing out of the absolute love that he had for the bands that were there, the music in general, and even today, every time I go online and there's something like mentioned about me, someone posts something, Jason's on there going, "Yeah, this is the greatest," and he's truly passionate, and he really does enjoy the music, and the fact that there's someone who knows what they're doing, pushing this kind of stuff, and wants to be a part of it. I just kind of thought, I usually do everything on my own, and I still, everything on the album is recorded by me, but I felt like maybe I'll just bust outside of my comfort zone, my box here, and just take a chance on someone else helping me out, spreading the word, and I kind of felt like Muddy Roots was a no-brainer in terms of whether they truly cared about the songs I was putting out.
Sure.
So.
And it helps always to have an extra set of hands.
Yes.
To help you out, no matter how that works.
Oh, certainly. I mean, when an artist is taking all of the business aspects of his creative life and focusing on that, after a while, it will consume you to the point where you're just like, God, I haven't actually tried to write a song for how long because I've been so focused on promotion, and
booking.
Yeah, it's like, there comes a point when you have to agree to let someone else help you out, and as hard as that can be for some people,
Sure. Not too long ago, you did a tour over in Europe. How many times have you been to Europe? Playing?
357. I'm trying to think how many times we were there. We were probably 6. I think that number changes every time but I'm pretty sure it was 6. I'm pretty sure like an accurate number would be 6. And then this is my very first solo one, so I just went over there, and my wife came along. This is the first time she's been to Europe once with 357, but since this was a kind of a honeymoon / tour for us a little bit, so
sure.
it was fantastic. I have good times every time I go over there. The general musical support system over there of treating bands well, have a place to stay, food to eat, and good sound. Everything about it kind of feels like there's a support system there that is.
They take pride. They take pride when you're coming over. It's
certainly.
They want to make sure you're well taken care of.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, you had mentioned your wife a couple times. Mm-hmm. Since the last time we talked on the show, you recently got married not too long ago.
Yep.
How has being married affected your music? Has it brought inspiration, or has it changed your style of writing or touring?
Turning me into a total softie is me. Just kidding.
They're all gonna be love songs from now on.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Like when I first put out Tongues of Fire, I was really just proud of how that album turned out. And I remember reading, like, the first review I ever read of it was a guy that was just like, well, it's like 357 light. It's good music to listen to with your grandma.
Oh.
And I was like, my grandma listens to good music, man. I was like, I'm going to take that as a compliment right now. And but it's, does it affect how I write? I don't know. I guess I'm not. I don't know. I don't think that there's any dichotomy that like this is my married life, this is my music life.
Sure.
I feel like I've just tried to make a balance to everything, and I think the songs are just honest about either things I am going through or have gone through. I mean this album is The Hanging Road is kind of like all the songs are inspired by certain moments throughout the 9 years I've been with my wife, and we've only been married for not under a year, but we've been together for 9 years. So the songs are inspired by moments all throughout that 9 years, whether they're not all like happening right now or something.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of there's like broken love songs, there's love songs, there's ones that are just like hopeless, depressing, and awful songs that are just like, well, that's not what's happening right now, but that's something I felt
at one point
during a period where we were not together, and it was, so.
So which song on the album, the new album, The Hanging Road, is the most autobiographical, would you say? I mean, you said that,
certainly not the two-tongue swear about putting the bottle down. I do still drink. That song was actually written for a friend who was sober, and after writing it, I was just like, man, I have so many sober friends. And hopefully they all enjoy this one, but apparently I just can only write in first person, so
right.
Yeah, that one's not autobiographical. But I would say, like Same River Twice was about the time when me and my wife had split up for a while, and the line is taken from like an old philosopher, Heraclitus, who just said, no man can step in the same river twice, as in all things are in flux, and you can't go back to where you have been.
Sure.
And when me and my wife were broken up, and I was trying to get back together, and it was just kind of like, but we've can we step in that same river twice? But we've both changed right now, so we're different people. So yes, let's give that a whirl.
Awesome.
So that was an autobiographical one for sure.
I mean, I'm sure that every song has some kind of.
Oh sure, yeah.
But I was just curious. There are some that are more than others. So.
Yeah, like Father, Why These Stones is kind of like a prodigal son story, I always say, and that's like. I've had a very good childhood in living, and my parents had supported me in a lot of things, but that's kind of just like I kind of like made my life difficult for myself in a lot of ways, and kind of like trying to find your way back to the importance of family, the importance of music, trying to find something to where you feel like, God, my parents had this, I had this perfect grow up, and it's like, I'm fucking poor, I'm depressed, I'm gonna lose my job, this job isn't working, and I can't afford any of my own rent, and it's like, where did I go wrong?
Right.
Like, where did I become this like impractical person who just like, plays music and paintings and all these things that are just like, this isn't practical life, like, but somehow, so yeah, that's autobiographical, certainly.
So, besides being a musician, you said you paint, but you also, I call it an art, furniture design, or how would you describe it?
It's more art furniture, I suppose, as I call it just like rustic modern furniture, I suppose.
And how did you get into doing that?
That was, I feel like I've like wanted to do it for a while, and my buddy and I 2 years ago tried to start this community shop with had a bunch of people coming in, and we could share the space, and because we didn't have a lot of fun, so we thought we could all kind of like put our our money together and make a shop space that people could use when we weren't there. Other people could come in and use it, and try to have this like co-op of sorts. And once we got the space, I just took over it, and I just kept on going and going and going, and I was never not there. And I was, and certain people dropped out, and I just. I started making things, and it kind of took off pretty quick, where people were just like, yeah, I love this, and build this for me, let's build this for me, and I kept on doing custom stuff to the point where I was able to really keep upgrading the shop constantly, and creating a really good shop within a couple of years, which takes a lot of work, and now I've reached the point where I have a lot of projects going, and usually one or two at a time going, so when I come home from a tour like this, I'll have stuff to go back to, so...
How did you get into woodworking and that?
God, maybe I just wanted to do something more hands-on, practical kind of thing, and I had that desire to do that. My dad did do cabinetry stuff, and he kind of didn't ever really push me towards that direction. He was always kind of like, if you're gonna fuck up your music, if you do this, and if you chop a finger off and you're playing guitar,
right.
It's more important that you're playing banjo, guitar, and fiddle. I'm like, really? It is? Okay.
Okay, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Dad said it was fine that I was a musician.
Yeah, and that's a rare thing, and I think that's really awesome that they've always been like that way for me, though, because a lot of parents maybe would be like, sure, it's good, but I don't know what he's doing.
Right.
Like, my parents are just like, awesome.
Good.
They spread the word more than I do right now, so...
So this is your third solo album since the breakup of 357.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel you found a groove as a solo artist, and really found kind of the niche you want to find?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at the beginning of Tongues of Fire, I felt like I was getting on something and already making like a sound that I wanted to go for. And I feel like I have certainly reached a balanced perspective of my whole life, and versus like 357 was kind of like it seemed like a narrow vision to me or something of what the songs I was writing at the time or something. I couldn't bust out of it for some reason. But I feel like people do enjoy the stuff I've been doing since then, and it feels good because I feel like it's like, that's good because you really are seeing me, and
sure.
And when you're just doing what you want to do, regardless of what people expect or think, and you're just you're doing it for yourself, because I'm entertaining myself, and I'm also like relieving something that I want to say or do. And the fact that other people like it when you know that this is really you,
right? That
is such a great feeling, yeah. So
and obviously all three albums have been well received, and so does the 357 tag? Have you noticed it kind of maybe not so prevalent as it probably was when you first put out the first album?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah, and. But I'm definitely proud of everything I've done all throughout the years. I would never try to completely distance myself from it. But most of the fans that do know me from my solo stuff know me from 357, and but yeah, it's good to have people come up and talk about what you're doing now,
right?
And being like, that's awesome.
And then some asshole who has a podcast has to bring in 357 questions.
Yeah.
That asshole. I specifically said no.
Hey, it's still the fact that it's still fresh in people's minds, and there's still people finding that band, and it's still growing even on its own when we're not together. That's awesome.
That is definitely awesome. So, as a songwriter, and the last time we had you on was when we were doing the songwriter kind of series that we were promoting songwriters. Mm-hmm. To you, what makes the perfect song?
What makes the perfect song? Well, I don't know. I guess I don't really have a great answer to that, but I guess it should certainly evoke something in another human being when they hear it. You want to, writing is all about, I guess, connection, with another human being and having an accurate portrayal of probably some sort of human imperfection.
Sure.
And then creating a song that can evoke that same response in someone else where you connect with a person would probably be a perfect song if you created a connection with someone. So
for you, when you're writing, how do you judge when a song is done? When it's, this is one, I mean, is there
if
a
it has
struggle?
3 verses and you do the chorus twice, you're good. No, I don't know. When is it done? I guess you can just once the
I guess because as any artist, you're always most hypercritical of your own stuff, and I just was curious. Is like, when do you put that song down and say that's where it needs to be, or do you just have a gut feeling that
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's an unconscious thing that you're just like, when you're writing, you just reach a point where you're just like, any more would be forced or something.
Sure.
So just like, you were in the writing mode and that came out, and then once it starts to slip away, like to try to keep on fixing or adding, and it just won't work. So I mean, it just comes on its own. It's unfortunate how unconscious it is sometimes because you'd wish you could really focus and work on it, but sometimes you just have to wait for that response within you to spew something, and then it's over.
Sure. And I've talked to a lot of songwriters over the years. And some songs they have with them for 5 years before it's done. I mean, do you ever hold on to those ideas and work on something over that period of time, or does it need to generate within a reasonable time?
I would say it's somewhat reasonable. Even like some of the songs on Hanging Road are songs that I wrote 2 years ago. I might have finished like right after Tongues of Fire, or some of them were in the process but weren't, or being written during the recording phase of Tongues of Fire. And so but I've never gone back and rearranged them or waited for them. They were just kind of done at the time, and it just takes a while to release them maybe or something, or the right order of songs that you need for an album, where if something flows, so the album flows, So some songs I have right now, I might have just had to hold on to.
Sure.
Because it doesn't flow with this album.
Sure. Well, one of the last questions I have for you is, has there ever been a point in your career that you wanted to stop playing music? And if so, why? I
guess never permanently. Even when 357 split up, and we had to kind of have that conversation. I even had to explain, this is done, but I'm gonna take these songs that are on this album that we've already made, and I'm gonna move on and do something else, because I'm never gonna be done writing music. I needed a break from that, but I'm not gonna be done writing. I definitely needed a break, but I don't think there's necessarily a break from a person who feels inspired to write music just naturally or something. I don't know why I write music, but I just do. So, it's probably because I'm not. I mean, I'm talking right now, but I'm not much of a talker. I'm more of a, on an everyday basis, sometimes I just realize I haven't said a fucking word all day. It's just,
well, it keeps you out of trouble if you don't sing.
So this is how I connect with people.
Sure.
So if I stopped writing music, I'd feel like if I would lose that complete connection to the outside world. So I couldn't stop writing music, but to take a break is absolutely healthy. Sometimes if you're running yourself into the ground playing music. Sure.
So where do folks go to find the new album, The Hanging Road?
The Hanging Road is, it's on iTunes as of yesterday, April 29th, so that's the easiest way, I suppose, if you just want a digital version of it. But you can get physical copies and digital from moneyrootsrecords.com. That's, even if you went to my site, it'd probably just relay you right to that. And the vinyl for that record will be out in early July, so a couple more months, and then you'll have the option whether you want vinyl or not.
Awesome. Awesome. And where do folks go to find out about your furniture?
JosephHuberWoodworks.com is that one.
All right, and we'll put that in the show notes. And then finally, where do folks go to get your tour dates and get T-shirts or whatever you have?
That is www.josephhubermusic.com. And they're also up on Facebook. It's annoying to post them a million different places, but they're on Facebook, Reverb Nation, and probably josephhubermusic.com is going to have all of the absolute dates.
Your central hub.
It's good to have a central hub website.
Right.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, Joseph, thank you again for being on the show.
Absolutely.
And it's always a pleasure having you on, and good luck on the tour.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with the new album.
It's going well so far. Thank you, Blake.
All right.
Keep on trucking. All right. Here's another new one. This one's called Same River Twice.